I feel good about it, actually.
We're calling her Susie, a sex worker. She's had a handful of clients with disabilities.
I think a lot of them do it for practice, so they know what to do, or how to have sex for when they do want to get intimate with someone they care about. They know what to do then. They know what kind of stuff will make them tired, what their limits are, that kind of stuff.
Those clients wind up feeling encouraged instead of judged.
I think it makes them feel a lot better about themselves. And they've thanked me afterwards just for accepting them and letting them be my client, because a lot of them do get turned down, or they're embarrassed about it. And just to be accepting and willing to try stuff with them, they're really thankful for it.
It's not uncommon for other sex workers to refuse those clients, mainly for fear of inadvertently hurting them. Plus, accessibility is a huge issue. Susie remembers helping one man who uses a wheelchair to get up some stairs. She put him over her shoulder while he held on to the railing.
He was really embarrassed about it. I kind of felt bad for him, just because he was so embarrassed about it and didn't want anybody to know about it. I told him it was okay. He just cried. I cried. It was just emotional for him to go through that.
People who live with disabilities every day still have a right to their sexuality.
Heather Jarvis of the Safe Harbor Outreach Project is in constant contact with sex workers. One of the things they've told her is that if they have a client who is deaf, they'll text back and forth to communicate.
Sex workers are able to have more honest conversations with clients about what they need and what they're looking for. And when it comes to people with disabilities, what we're hearing again and again from the sex workers in our city is that people with disabilities are feeling really lonely and alienated, as though their sexuality doesn't get to exist.
Susie says that's the wrong kind of thinking.
They're just like anybody else. I mean, a lot of them weren't born with their disabilities. Something's happened and it's made them that way. They're normal people too. It's just average people. The only difference is they have extra struggles. Like having to go over stairs is a struggle for them versus the regular person without a disability who doesn't even have to think about that stuff.
But Jarvis says many sex workers do have to think about that. They're living with disabilities themselves, such as chronic pain, epilepsy, cerebral palsy, and hearing loss.
Often, when we know that disability also plays a huge role in people not being able to find adequate employment, people do what they need to do to make ends meet, to make an income, to keep themselves going. So when sex work is an area where women can make more than men in almost the only job industry, a lot of sex workers with disabilities do find sex work a place to get employment that can be with their schedule, meeting their body's needs.
Susie says that's not why she's in the business, but working with clients with disabilities is important to her.
I know it's hard to find someone to be comfortable with in that way, especially with a disability. I mean, it takes a lot of guts to actually go out and do things like that, especially if you do have a disability. Having to go out and do that and show your face.
Ramona Deering, CBC News, St. John's.